Hello, welcome to another video. The games for Game of the Year were nominated, and it has caused a little bit of a stir. Now, to add some context, they kind of announced right before, I think it was maybe yesterday or within the last week, let's say. They're going to be categorizing, remakes, DLC expansions, and stuff as their own game. And people instantly were kind of like, are you telling me an expansion or DLC could win Game of the Year? And that is basically what is potentially going to happen. As the 6 games that are nominated for Game of the Year are Astrobot, Balatro, I don't know, Black Myth Wukong, Metaphor ReFantazio, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, which is absolutely something. Now, mostly, I feel like I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter, and it's been people talking about this that don't seem like the biggest FromSoft fans. They haven't played, maybe haven't even played Elden Ring, stuff like that. I have. I played through Shadow of the Erdtree this year, and I'm just going to say right now, Shadow of the Erdtree is 100% guaranteed one of, if not, the best thing I have played in 2024. I think basically anyone that's played it, or any FromSoft fan, anything like that, would tend to agree. And with that being said, I 100% absolutely do not think that it should be considered for Game of the Year. That is ridiculous, if we're being honest. Just realistically, imagine if it wins. You're telling me an addition to a game that it wasn't even like a giant overhaul of a game. It wasn't turning a really bad game into a really good game, or have a bunch of updates that changed literally how the game functioned. Something more similar to Cyberpunk Liberty. I can't think of it. The Cyberpunk DLC that came out last year. That was a much bigger overhaul of the overall game because they did a lot more gameplay kind of RPG changes in the base game while that game came out. Shadow of the Erdtree was literally just, here's a new area. It's still Elden Ring, so it's still fucking awesome. There's a bit more of a story, realistically. And it does suck because it's like, yeah, this year wasn't necessarily like this huge, hard-hitting game year for games. There's been good ones. I think there is games that probably could be shown here instead. The fact that none of the Nintendo games managed to find their way on to Game of the Year is kind of surprising. I know they haven't had like any of the super big name ones, but they did have the recent Zelda game, which a lot of people I remember seeing before in like predictions and stuff having it in here. So I think that one it definitely could be there. Silent Hill 2, I think it could be there. I think it's in line with something like RE4 Remake. I will say RE4 Remake is probably better. I haven't played it, so I'm not certain. But Silent Hill 2 kind of over time gets to the point where it feels like the game was too long. But it's still like a fabulous game that definitely could just be nominated. I don't think it would deserve to win. Absolutely not. But that leads to the kind of debate I saw on Twitter about this and some controversial stuff of why shouldn't a DLC be allowed on here? You have however many remakes and stuff like remasters, stuff like that managed to find their way in there. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a remake, so what's different from that? That's not a new game. Though I think the people that are arguing that are making the biggest of stretches possible for their argument, because Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth are so insanely different from the original game. They are basically new games. Even the story was changed in ways to make it its own. Shadow of the Erdtree is its own thing, but it's literally just an addition to an already existing game, which already won Game of the Year, absolutely deservedly so. It 100% deserves. Elden Ring will be one of the most concrete game of the years ever. It'd be hard to argue against it realistically. And the fact that Shadow of the Erdtree is even nominated just goes to show how goddamn good Elden Ring really was, that it could win 2 years. Because it would just be Elden Ring winning again. It would literally be Elden Ring winning Game of the Year 2 separate years. 2 years apart. Which is crazy. Also, though, would be hilarious. So if it happens, I would giggle a lot. But I did see some confusion too with Balatro. I'm not going to say this. I literally practiced how I was going to say it in this video before, and I still... Balatro. Let's go with Balatro. Being an indie card game, it was nominated, and it's probably going to sweep so many indie game kind of stuff by the fact it's nominated for Game of the Year. I haven't played it. I've heard it's really good, and that it works really good on a Steam Deck to, check it out one time. Add it on my wish list today because it's a smaller game. It tends to go on sale a lot. But I saw people complaining about that being there, and I would say, it feels like a lot of years they will put an indie game in there if it is something that has, kind of blown up in a certain way. Like Hades probably should have won in 2020. Realistically, that game was amazing, and it kind of seems like everyone forgot about Hades 2. I don't know if it's as good or worse or what. I haven't played it yet, but that's something that, is interesting. People are a little weird about that, but overall, just the biggest weird thing that definitely happened is them deciding, let's put Shadow of the Erdtree in Game of the Year instead of ongoing game, because I'm pretty sure that's where they put the Cyberpunk DLC last year for its, and Shadow of the Erdtree isn't even in the ongoing thing. I saw Destiny 2 was there, and I thought, how the game's literally is the game not fucking dead at this point? It could not be. I don't know. I'm sorry, Destiny 2 fans, but the fact that they don't have a DLC of the year type of category is weird. You're probably not going to have 6 to pick from every year, and or even 5 some years, but I don't think that should be that big of an issue. I feel like if there is enough, you could do MMO of the year with DLC of the year, have the two things separated. That just seems like the best way to go about that, or just put all DLC and MMOs into ongoing games, because it is crazy if you actually think about the fact that Shadow of the Erdtree made it Game of the Year, but somehow was not on Best Ongoing Game. Yeah, it's not. Okay, good. I'm not a fucking crazy person. The fact that is how that works either means they completely changed the category of ongoing game, what that means. I guess maybe they did, but it feels weird that I understand if you want to put in, something like art direction or, kind of its own categories. Again, I just would have thought they would have treated it just like last year's Cyberpunk DLC. No one really was that up in arms about it. There were a little murmurs about it. And it's just weird that they decided, fuck it, let's go even further and put Shadow of the Erdtree as the game of the year, when it technically isn't even its own game. It's weird. At that point, just say Elden Ring. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say about it. I was at work and I saw these all come out and I was looking through them, seeing Game of the Year, and I was like, they actually did it. I obviously kind of assumed because I couldn't think of any other DLC that they would actually consider to put here, which that was, I was surprised they actually did it, and Balatro was definitely the surprise for this in this category. I'm sure it's a really good game. All I've ever heard is how wonderful it is, but I don't know. It seems like a kind of more niche kind of thing to be here. But overall, what do I think is going to win? I think in later time I'm gonna go through and actually vote on these and make a video out of that probably. But I'll just tell you right now, the game I think I want to win Game of the Year is probably Black Myth Wukong, because it's a really good game. It has its issues 100%, but overall it is a very, very good game. And if Black Myth doesn't win, I want Metaphor to win, because that game is also super, super good. Like either one of those wins and I'm happy and I feel like yep, we decided on a great goddamn winner this year. And that's why neither of them is going to win, because Astrobot to me in my head is like it's telling my brain's telling me don't be an idiot, just accept it now. Astrobot is going to win by fucking far and is going to win probably a lot of awards. And then probably 4 years from now, we'll look back at it and be like, yeah, it was a fun game. But how did it beat Black Myth Wukong? Or how did it beat Metaphor? Or even probably Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at that point. Just how big those games kind of were and are. I know Astrobot is probably super fun and whatnot, but I don't know. That's my thought. That's my opinions about this. But be sure to leave your opinions in the comment section. Leave a like if you enjoy. Consider subscribing. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.